it's Rebecca with Team Ladybug, and I'm here just doing a quick demo on the June Beetle Box and what you can do with some of the items from that box. So I've pre-prepped the nails here just to get it ready, so you know, the base coat and everything. And then on the first nail I used the color from the box, Color Explosion Atomic Collection Wedded Blitz. And for the next two nails I used Gotti 80G Flower Girl's Dream. And then the next nail I used 01G Fresh Canvas by Gotti, which is just a white. And then over the top of that I used her Surfboard just to give some added shimmer to that nail. And then on the last nail I used 98G, it's Meant to Be from Gotti as well. And then because we're doing decals, I did cover the last three nails with the Velvet Touch Matte Top Coat just to get them ready. But right now you need to get blooming gel because we're going to do some blooming gel on these nails. So I'm just covering this nail with blooming gel, and then I'm going to lay out my colors here. I'm just going to use the Wedded Blitz, and then Tracy recommends, and I think it's great too, to use the blooming gel in between each color. That way they don't just make a muck of a color and they blend together well, but still showcase the different colors. And if you have different thicknesses of your gel, it also does really well to keep them flowing in between the colors for that. So then I'm just going to put down the It's Meant to Be, and then another layer of the blooming gel as well. And for the last one, I'm just doing a fresh canvas here for some white on the end. And white on the end sometimes is a lot, so I'm going to add a little bit of blooming gel just so it's not so much at the end. And I'm going to use the Ombré brush and pick up the color just to go on my first nail. So just grabbing a bunch of that, and I want like a wavy sort of flowy pattern, so I'm gonna go just put it down in a swirl and then maybe add some more of the color to that and decide, yeah, I think I need a little bit more here on this one side, so I'm gonna pick up the rest and just make like another similar swirl pattern and maybe a little bit extra there. Still want to keep a little bit of the purple like open, but just bring it down and fill in some spots that I feel need a little bit more. Not really going for like a stone look or anything, just a flowy pattern here. So I'm going to clean off the brush and fix a couple of spots that haven't really flowed exactly the way I wanted, just to bring some down to the edge and some more motion. And that needs just a little bit of touch up. You know, you're doing whatever you want here. I just want a little bit more movement in the color, and it's totally up to you, you know, how your flow looks, but for me this is what I wanted. So then once it's done flowing, I would take a glove and get some of that extra color off the side so your sides aren't so heavy on the nail. You can still do this with regular nails too, and just, you know, make sure it's pretty even and flat and not bulgy in any way. All right, so I cleaned off the little bit of color I had left, and now I'm adding another layer, and I don't want white at the end because I want this to be less white. And we're gonna do the It's Meant to Be and add a little bit of that and make my lines longer because I really didn't have enough for the next two nails that I need to do. And then at the end I'm gonna add the Wedded Blitz again. I just need more color and a little less white on these two. I want not so much of the white nail. So get, you know, your lines out and get it what you need. All right, so then get the nail and take your blooming gel and cover that. Looks like there's a spot on this one, but I'm gonna cover that up, so I'm not even worrying about it at this point. It doesn't have to be 100% perfect. And I'm just grabbing a little bit. So I want to frame this nail, and I need it to go where I feel like I'm going to put the decals. And you're sort of pre-planning this in your mind about what you want to do, and adding the colors where you want it, because you can cover the whole nail, but you don't have to. Like, you can use this just like you would alcohol ink or any other sort of background art, and, you know, just give your nails a little bit of depth and interest and a frame. So that needs to be pulled down a little bit there, and I think that may look good. I'm gonna let it sit, and then I will get the next nail, and I'm gonna have to add blooming gel to this one as well. Even though I matte top coated these, I need to put the blooming gel over them because I was not thinking about adding a background at the beginning. I was going to do it at the end, but anyway, so let's get some more of the gel. And this one, I don't want the same pattern. I do want like half of the nail done with the blooming gel. So I'm just going to make it maybe the edge here, and I think, well, I like that it's not so in your face. Oh yeah, okay, so we're gonna do basically half the nail in the blooming gel, and there's a little bit of smudge there, so I gotta clean off my brush and get the color off. So a little bit of alcohol. It's not quite getting it the way I want it to. Still sort of stuck there. So I'm going to take the oval brush and add a little bit of alcohol just to grab that extra glitter, because I don't want this side to have any sort of blooming or flow on it at all. All right, so I think these are good, and I'm ready to cure. So now I'm going to cover with them with matte top coat, because this is the part where we need the matte for the decals. So just go ahead and cover them both with the matte top coat. Make sure it's even, and once you have that done and they're cured, now we're ready to move on to the decals. So we did get a whole bunch of decals in our box, and I really like the flowers, and they all have the same sort of metallic-y, glittery look, so you can mix and match these. Not all colors are going to work with every nail, but you know, depending on the colors of your background and whatever you choose, you can add a bunch of different colors if you're going to go for a flowery look. So I like these with the lines, and I want to incorporate the lines. It's kind of hard to get the decals off of the paper with the background, but let's see if we can get this on here. And I like this. I have to figure out placement, because now I think I just want the whole nail to be aligned right down the middle, and we can add the flowers and put them. I don't know if I like this one so much. It's kind of hard to work with. I think it's better if you pick a bigger decal to work with instead of the small one to start filling it in. I really like these flamingos because some of them have flower bodies, but that doesn't really go and work well with the colors I've chosen on the nails. There's a little bit of pinkish purple in here, but if I want these to go cohesively together, I need to, I think, just go with flowers. And so I'm going to stick with that line. I was thinking I could use a leg of the flamingo as a line, but I'm not going to go that way. So let me see. Let's just, I do like these double line ones as well, but then I would have to have something else double lined or some flowers to go. So let's just go with the straight line one and make it sort of down the middle. Kind of tricky with the camera to get this straight, but looks good. And I'm just going to press it down. And there's my first line. Okay, so now I've got to find something else that goes. So I think I can go back in and use that other one I was going to use originally, because now we've got a line going. I don't have to figure out the rest of the flowers. So just basically try to line these up, and depending on how you're holding it, can work. I think I'm a little bit out of frame here, but you'll get the idea. And just try to make sure it lines up with what you're going for. Okay, so that's lining up there, a little bit down, and we can fill in the blanks. And just, you know, even if this hangs over the edge a little bit, I'm going to file it off. So I'm not worried about that. Just make sure it's a straight line. And I've got it. So that's covering it up. Okay, I like the way that looks. Now I need to fill in those two gaps at least, right? So here, we've got to get rid of that extra decal on the edge. Well, let's grab the other foil sheet, and I'm going to take, I think, small flowers. I don't want anything too big now, so I'm just going to grab some little ones off of this, and not so easy to grab. All right, I'm just going to take it off the backing. And all right, yeah, it wasn't working very well trying to grab them off of that. So it's much easier to bend when you don't have the big backing behind it. I'm just going to grab a flower here and then stick it in the middle. Right in the middle or on the bottom? No, on the bottom works. All right, indecisive, but there. I think it would hang over the edge, and that would be too hard to file with a little decal, because if you file it and it's not pressed down, then you have a little bit of a mess. So let's stick it right in the middle there. It doesn't have to be under the line. You know, you can have one or two go over the line and still have it look good. And then I need a couple more leaves here to fill in, at least one on the bottom. And this one I need to have small enough and angle it so that it does not have to be filed. Obviously, a person's nail probably would be smaller than this that you're working on, or even tips maybe smaller or bigger, but you get the general idea if you just want to fill in, but not go over the edge. And press that down. And then I think maybe one more, maybe a little bit up at the top to bring the two pieces from the bottom together. So let's get one more of that color a tiny leaf on here, and I'm gonna make it like it's coming off of the flower at the top, and just press it down. Okay, so I think that looks pretty good. And just make sure it's secure. File off any extra that was at the top or the side, and it looks pretty good. So the next nail, we're going to go with the same. Okay, so I somehow deleted the video from when I put this decal on. I'm not sure, but I don't want to take it off, and I don't want to redo the nail, so I'm just going to leave it. It's from this sheet, and you can see which one I used. And I'm going to go ahead and now add another flower to the edge from the other sheet like I used on the other nail, the little flowers. But this time I'm going to do a little bit bigger just to finish off the end, and I didn't see anything on the first sheet, so it's going to be this one. I do like some of the bigger flowers, but I don't want it to be overpowered. So this sheet has smaller flowers, and that's what we're going to go with.
Sorry.
You know, obviously you could add a butterfly or another flower or whatever you wanted to do at this point. But here I'm just going to pick one of these flowers off of here to add it to the bottom of the nail to finish the edge. And also make it sort of go with the other one, so you'll still see some of the line, and then I've got to file off the edge of that. Just hold down the decal and make sure you're filing cleanly.
That doesn't make any sense. What do you mean?
To
Somewhere?
get it done. Alright, so that's two nails, and now I have to add the matte top coat to the top of this one as well and seal them in. And once you get that done, then we'll have a look at the nails to see how it's going. But cure that, and I really like these matte. I think they look good matte, and you can still see like the reflective shine on them. I think they look really cute. So now I'm going to use some Rapid Ready press-on gel, because I want a really thin layer of glitter on here, and I don't want to do a rubber base coat. It's too thick. I just want a little bit of glitter on this one in the side, because we're going to add some crystals to this nail or a flower or something. So I just want a little bit of highlight of glitter in the background. I don't want the whole nail covered with glitter, and I'm just going to do it on the side that I want. And we'll add a little bit of the extra glitter, like sort of like a fade from the edge in our circle effect, just to give some extra oomph to the nail, I guess. I don't know. I'm all about glitter anyway. So just put it where you want it to go, and then, you know, press it in. Again, this is where gloves come in, so handy. And just make sure it's even, because you don't want any big lumps with your glitter. This gel really holds it well and keeps it pretty flat, so you don't need much. Alright, so now I decided I like the matte look, but I want a little bit of extra. So I'm going to use some of the Mirabella
music on
silver, because these decals have silver. I want to take that and, you know, just make sure that you put it on your palette and you're stirring it well, because every time you keep it on the palette, it'll separate. This is a 9mm brush, just like the one Tracy always uses, and I'm just going to outline a little bit here and there on the flowers. This has its own top coat in it, and so it won't cure sticky, so we can just use it right over the top of this and just highlight here and there wherever you think it looks best, you know, just to bring out a little bit more of that silver of the flowers. And because we matte top coated this, if you make a mistake or something, you can just wipe it off and start over if you don't like the way it comes out. But just outlining some of the flowers, again, you know, just where you think it looks good. I personally don't do every single one. You could do every one if you wanted to, but I just wanted a little bit of like shimmer when you turn the nail, more like silver reflection, because that's what I was seeing before, but I just want to emphasize that. So I'm just going to put it here and there on the nail, and a little bit more on some of the petals, and outlining a little bit. But like I said, I'm not covering every petal, and I'm not doing every single bit of the whole thing, just here and there to highlight or add a little bit of shimmer. Just remember, this does flow really well, so you don't want very much on your brush. You want to wipe your brush off probably between each petal, or at least, you know, make sure it's not too heavy on your brush. And even if you don't have a steady hand, you know, you're only doing a tiny little stroke, so it doesn't have to be perfect. Just make sure that they all go together. The flower decals, I'm adding the silver Mirabella paint. I really love this stuff. Like, I could use it on almost every nail design that I have. Find some way to use it and incorporate it. It just adds, you know, that little bit extra. Anyway, I'm pretty happy with that, so I'm going to cure it, and then I'll move on to the next one. And you can see like the silver in there, and just again emphasize each one that you want to, and highlight the petals here and there. You don't have to do all of them, just do some random ones. I am going over even some of the little leaf parts, but definitely just to bring it together, not doing too much, just a little bit here and there until I feel that I like the way it looks. Missed this tiny one, so I gotta do a couple here, and maybe a little bit just to bring that together. Okay, I'm happy with that, so I'm curing. Now I'm taking this nail, I'm going to use Restore and Repair, and I'm going to cover that to make sure it's smooth, cure it, and then next step is to take the Wet Look Ladybug Luster Wet Look Top Coat and cover this nail with it, because we're going to either add flowers or we're going to add crystals to this. I have not decided yet. I have to look at the nails and see which way to go. So now I'm putting the Wet Look top coat on and just going to make sure that it's even, turn it upside down to level it out, and cure it. And then I have to take the other nails that I have and cure those with the Wet Look top coat, because they're all going to be shiny except for the two matte flower ones. And turn it upside down. Looks good. And I'm going to cure that one. And then the last one is the glitter nail, and we're going to, you know, put the top coat on that one and then cure that as well. Then once these are all done curing, I can see which one I want to put the flower on or the crystals. I can show you like different ways. So whatever flowers you have, like if you have something like this or just a plain flower, you can take your nails that you've just done and see, okay, maybe that looks good there, or maybe I want to, you know, take it and see if it looks good. It's cute. But it's kind of, you know, the white looks good with the glitter behind it, and that's one of the reasons why we added the glitter, so that it gave a background to something. So you could use it there, you know, on that nail, or you could take one of the other nails, like it would look good on that nail. I think it looks really good on there with the white blooming gel in the background. So there's something like that. So just, you know, experiment with your nails and see if you'd want to do it that way, or, you know, you could do it even on the Wedded Blitz nail. I think it looks good on that as well. So I put a bunch of crystals out, and I have got the Gotti glue, and also I grabbed some of the Starlight diamonds and the tiny metallic beads in copper. And then I've also got the glue that I'm just going to put down here in a big splotch, basically, because I decided I wanted to go organic with this. There's a lot of flow with the other nails, and let's use up some of these crystals that we have. Oops, got that in the Mirabella paint. It doesn't really affect it that much. We're just going to stick that in here. So if you have a bunch of crystals that don't sort of really go with anything, and since this has so many colors in it, you can take your crystals and just make sort of an organic pattern. And you're going to use 2 big ones, kind of big, not really like huge or anything. And I'm going to then take other beads, other crystals, and I'm going to place them around. I don't have a crystal picker, so I'm just using tweezers to do it. And I have to basically go back and forth between the crystals, and I don't have glue right there, so I gotta add glue. But then let's see here, get a crystal. Not the easiest thing in the world to pick these up with tweezers, but they're very pointy, so I'm gonna probably alternate between tweezers and using the brush, because I like to flip them with the brush. And grab some of the caviar beads, the tiny metallic beads. I actually really like these because the different sizes, you can put them randomly and they'll fill in gaps or make it look more finished. Whereas, you know, if you just use the same size caviar beads all the time, that does have its place and it does have a good look. But this, just to me, I was really hesitant to use them at first because I wasn't sure how they'd look. But the more I use them, the more I love them. And I wish that I had them before this. But at any rate, you can place them wherever you'd like in little bits and just to fill in. And it does not have to be a pattern. It can be, you know, like I said, totally organic, and just add the crystals where you think that it looks good. Because this was a flower nail set anyway, it almost looks like a little bouquet of flowers to me. You know, once the nails all come together as a set, it looks good. I do love pattern crystals placement, but I didn't do that with this one. I just wanted to go and use some of the random crystals that I had and basically use the 2 as like a center focus, and then add crystals as I felt they would look good. And I don't know. Anyway, the glue will help pick these up. You can also use a tray to put them in. I keep them in the little black case that they came in. And grab another one of these Starlight diamonds. Those work with almost everything and anything. Blue, orange, yellow, white. I love them because they do change if you put them over different colors. But let's see here. Add a little bit more glue to make sure it's staying right there. And then I am gonna get some tiny other beads. And let's see. Move it around a little bit and add a couple more caviar in the rose gold, copper, rose gold, similar colors. I think it needs little tiny caviar beads, so I have some of those that I got from Tracy, and I'm just going to put them in mixed. You can mix metals. A lot of people don't like to do that. I do, because not everybody wears just silver or just rose gold or just gold. And if you're doing a white nail, or if it's a nail with lots of colors and it's not just like a silver nail or a gold nail, absolutely mix your metals. It's, they do make mixed metal jewelry, and I think it adds a little bit instead of adding one just solid color. So then I'm just going to make sure they're all flowing the way I want and move them around a little bit with the brush, because I don't want any just sticking out randomly. I want a cluster here. And I like the way that looks. After you're happy with the design, make sure you clean up the glue around the edges with some alcohol and then cure it. And this is the finished look. So I'm pretty happy with the design. It came together organically, and I think you should be able to do this too.